Kamala Harris was sort of the Poochie of the Democratic ticket.
If you're in a Transformers movie, you're a Photoshop person.
Of American authenticity is Ralph Lauren Loretta.
I was kind of fried last episode because I had just come back from like endless honeymoon. I think I had gotten into the car accident that day.
Was it that day?
It was the day before.
Yeah.
Yeah, my car got totaled.
Ooh, you know what? I'm gonna
Start the old timer.
Yeah.
So we don't do a 7-hour episode.
Which I feel like is
It
completely
is possible today.
Yeah.
Yeah, today's. But you guys will know before us how long it was because you'll see the time on the screen.
Could we do 7 hours, you think? Think we have it in us?
Yes.
Yeah, I think we do.
Especially on like one like this where there's like a couple different holes you can go, rabbit holes you can go down endlessly.
Yeah.
But to answer your first question,
Yeah.
I'm doing okay. I'm feeling more rested.
How's the neck?
Fine.
No,
Nothing.
serious whiplashy.
Yeah, no. I made a joke yesterday. I had a Hollywood meeting yesterday. And in my meeting yesterday, I was supposed to have it originally on the day of the car accident.
Oh, wow.
Like I was driving to the Hollywood meeting for the Hollywood business stuff. And on the way, first question, they were like, how are you feeling? And I was like, honestly, I think I'm more sore from the reformer Pilates that my wife made me go to yesterday than I am the car accident.
That's gonna be a weird thing? Did you cancel the meeting en route?
Yeah, I had to
car.
punt it, and so we punted the meeting, and luckily,
do you sweat bullets at that point? Because like I feel like you've been to enough generals that you're like they come and go, but like
yeah, this was one that I was like more excited about because I liked all the people involved.
Yeah,
not like but like it's a production company. The guy who has the production company's based around is somebody who I've known for a long time. And then on top of that, like kind of met them organically. And the guy who's the head of the production company is friends with my friend Dan Levy, who I've talked about once, who's going to be a guest on the show soon. And like the woman from the production company saw me do stand-up. So it all kind of happened more organically.
There are in Hollywood, it feels like there are general meetings which feel like you're invited to jump straight off a cliff and hope that you fly. And you're like, I'm gonna die. That's fine. I know I'm gonna die. That's fine.
Yeah.
And then there are way warmer rooms that feel like something could happen here.
Yeah, and this one felt like I walked out and it was like, okay, let's talk about these future projects at a sooner date. Like, come back to us when you're ready when you want to do one of these things.
That's amazing that you left a general feeling like you had a next step.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like it doesn't happen that often.
Oh, I feel like it sometimes I've had the experience of like, we like these things. And then it's like, let's do this or that. And then they're like, hey, can you write it for free?
That's the next step.
The next step is, hey, can you write it for free and we don't pay you? And then
also sign this contract so that we own it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not the most fun.
That doesn't feel like it happens as much anymore. But I am also at the age now where I'm 41 and I just don't work for free anymore.
How could you? And also, I don't feel like Hollywood has that weight
anymore.
And to say like, listen, motherfucker, we're Hollywood.
Yeah.
You're going to work for free. Now it's like, what money do you have to even pay me if this goes through?
Yeah.
I mean, this is something I kind of want to briefly like, I don't have anything beyond this question of just like, have you heard about Brady Corbett, the director of The Brutalist, and his pull quote from the Maron interview?
No, I have not.
I
haven't seen that movie yet, and I'm dying to see that movie.
God, same.
Also, I'm back on a Maron kick. I'm listening to a lot of Maron recently.
I go in and out on Maron.
I've always gone in and out. And then it'll autoplay on Spotify, and it'll be a guest. I am like, oh yeah, I want to hear.
Yeah.
What this person thinks about, what Mike Lee thinks about the creative process.
Yeah, that's what's so great about that show. But this thing Brady Corbett is being reported on a lot is that he is saying he has made, and I think the quote is, "I have made $0 from The Brutalist, zero currency." And his previous movie, I think he said he's just been like living off the paycheck from. Was it the Natalie Portman movie, Vox Lux or something like that from like 3 or 4 years ago?
That's crazy.
This is an
Oscar-nominated movie.
This is like the toast of the town, like prestige, oh, this is an important film to watch, conversation happening.
Great. One thing I will also say about this movie, how many people have actually seen this movie? I guarantee that movie has made 6 nickels.
That's the thing, right?
So it's like, I understand he hasn't made money, but it's also not Black Panther. It is a business. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like,
yeah, but I feel like the chasm between making a populist art house movie and Black Panther has gotten, it's just, even the only way to make money is seemingly Black Panther or a Marvel movie or something. And the fact that this guy has made like $0.
well, to be
Am I being naive?
No. I think there's 2 answers to this question. I think he probably got a shitty deal, which is partially his fault, but also sometimes you take a shitty deal so you can make the thing you want to make.
In Hollywood?
And then
shitty deal?
And then you get paid on the next one. And
when you get invited to direct Black Panther 4.
Exactly. He won an Oscar for this, and then they'll make a poignant Ant-Man movie. And he'll get a big fat payday for the poignant Ant-Man.
Finally.
I mean, I don't...
Ant-Man that looks inside.
Or you make the thing yourself, and then you get the big fucking paycheck, like the way Jordan Peele did with Get Out.
Right. But
And he made that with Blumhouse and all that, but like you get yourself a deal that's like
there's a market. I mean, there's a market for fresh takes on horror genre on the horror genre, and less so like long contemplative thought pieces on brutalist architecture.
Yeah.
Less so a market for that is what you're saying.
Yeah, probably the amount of people who've seen The Brutalist are the people who have finished The Fountainhead.
Yeah, yeah, and you were pitching your McMansion story, right? I mean, you were that's what your movie was about. That you were pitching.
Yeah, I was pitching a McMansion.
The McMansionist.
Story. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it's very timely.
Yeah, because I know you've been a fan of just giant fuck you houses
forever,
multiple rooms when just like an old boomers live there and no one else.
Oh my
you like beige couches, beige carpet, beige flooring, beige...
We're looking for new furniture right now. And to go into a furniture shop and see what is available, like 9 things out of 10, you're just like, who is this for?
Wait, can we talk about the price of couches?
Oh, it's insane. We have an expensive couch, too.
The price of couches, like, there's only like
$200 or $7,000.
Yes, and like you find one that's like, oh, this is $2,000. This is sort of in a price range, and then you're like, it looks like it's made out of like popsicle sticks and cotton balls, and then you find the couch you really want, and you're like, that is a few mortgage payments. Right
yes, there. Yeah. You get to live outside on your couch. Do you want to have a nice house or live outside on a comfortable couch?
And then if you have, any human younger than you or an animal, I mean...
What the fuck's the point?
Yeah.
We have a white couch. When we have kids one day, that couch is done.
Oh, yeah.
I've already
Cooked.
gotten pen on the couch.
Cooked.
We have little stains. And the other day, Catherine was like, hey, should we flip these cushions over? And I was like, why? I'm just going to ruin it.
I'm the reason you can't have nice things.
Yeah. You married a man whose hands shake uncontrollably. I also eat popcorn and potato chips like I'm going to the electric chair. Not on purpose, but it's just full handfuls trying to shove it on all at once.
And I go to the electric chair.
And once in a while I am like, why?
You and me, Pringles, our last dance.
Oh, God. Pringles luckily keep me under control. I can't have bags of food where the whole is...
Not a greasy chip, rather a dry chip.
Yeah. Not an enjoyable chip. It's your rich aunt and uncle's the chip of choice in their house.
You think Pringles is a rich chip?
I think of Pringles as a rich person's potato
I
chip.
associate the Cape Cod chip as the rich chip.
Really?
I don't know why. I feel like it's something you find in
because it's got a lighthouse on the bag.
I think it just reminds me of Montauk or something.
Yeah, you're like, these are the potato chips you bring on the boat.
Kind of exactly. Like if there was, I know it's called Cape Cod, but in my head, I think it's just called Martha's Vineyard.
Yeah.
It's still just potatoes and oil.
Yeah.
Same thing. It's also one of the chips you find at a boutique hotel in Ojai. They're like, oh, I'm not going to open that. Because that's $9 I'm getting charged right there.
Oh, this weekend when I was on the road, they had Status at the hotel. So I got $15 a day in like whatever I want, like can just get it from the snack bar money. And every night I came home and got a fucking Powerade, like a teenager, and 2 bags of Sun Chips. It was like my own little like, and it was
you treat like summer camp?
I kind of did, because I don't drink sugary drinks, and for some reason I was just like, I'm fucking doing this.
Well, what color? Not flavor, color.
It was dragon fruit. It was like a reddish color, because all the other ones seemed like they were all like 0 sugar, which meant fake sugar, and I'd rather have real sugar than fake sugar.
Isn't there a dye that just got canceled? They got
it did get canceled. The dye kept saying the N-word.
And then it was on Rogan's podcast, like, well, kind of got redeemed. No, there's like a red dye. That was just sort of like, no, that's like, we finally acknowledge, yep, that's gonna kill you.
Yeah, and it's been out of European food for years.
In America,
yeah,
it's sort of like,
I think it's one of the big RFK
Prop 65
things.
California.
Yeah.
Like, this will only give you cancer in California.
Yeah, the same way they kind of in Europe banned blue ink for tattoos.
Did they really? I didn't know that.
Long sip at an inconvenient point. Sorry.
It created terrific dramatic tension. Is it like cancer causing?
I think so.
Because I have blue ink.
I don't think it's your specific blue.
Based on
I'm just saying that to pretend to give you ease without ever seeing the tattoo.
I'll be fine.
You'll be fine.
I'll be fine.
It's also funny, this Cape Cod thing feels like it could lead directly into our board a little bit.
Oh,
the chip,
yeah.
But you have a news story.
I have a quick news
so
thing.
let's hit the news thing first.
Quick news thing I want to hit, I think is worth talking about just vibes alone. Did you see this?
No. Though I love Daniel Craig, so...
Amazon MGM is now the owner of the Bond franchise.
Did they buy it from the Broccoli's? I thought the Broccoli's still have control over when they get made and who's in them.
Amazon MGM Studios were formed into Amazon bought Bond's parent studio for an $8.5 billion deal, with the Bond IP believed to be a sizable motivation for the acquisition.
Wow.
A great quote from Joe Russo, Marvel director, who is like, it's crazy that he would say this, a Marvel director. Don't cinematic universe James Bond, adding, it is one of our last great theatrical events. Don't dilute that which with a plethora of streaming spin-offs. So for sure they're going to do a plethora of streaming spin-offs.
Oh, you're getting the Dune like Max version of Bond
Q
stuff.
miniseries.
100%. Q's origin story.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Young Q.
Young Q.
You're doing
and it's a lowercase Q. Young Q.
You're getting a sort of rom-com version of like the entire Bond franchise from Moneypenny's point of view. Will they, won't they?
Yeah, you're getting a sketch show of all the ex-Bond ladies.
Yes. Yep. 100%.
Called Welcome to Thunder Pussy.
Ooh. That's a good one, actually.
Yeah.
Actually, now I kind of want to watch that. But Bond, I wanted to just check in with you. Where are you at with Bond as a person, as a man?
Okay, my Bond is Pierce Brosnan. I am a GoldenEye Bond.
Yeah.
I saw it in theaters. We showed up. The theater was packed, and we had to sit in the front row. And the opening scene is that giant bungee cord scene.
Oh yeah.
And
it's a classic.
A classic. So he bungee cords off of, and we had to watch that in the front row, and it felt like we were bungee cording. We were like, ah!
It's like the last campy Bond.
It might be the last campy Bond. And then the video game, GoldenEye, was like N64, and like that was like my generation's Bond. But I watched the documentary on the songs. Mm-hmm. I think I went back at some point in time and watched a couple of the old ones. A lot of them are on Amazon.
So there's not like a fire for Sean Connery in you.
No. A
lot of people have that.
Yeah, I don't. He doesn't do it for me in the pants department. But I would say, honestly, Pierce Brosnan was my first Bond, but I think of Daniel Craig as my Bond.
I feel the same way.
Yeah.
Daniel Craig is my Bond.
Yeah.
I've loved pretty much all of his Bond movies.
Killer. I've seen all the Craig ones.
Yeah.
That's just because you get stuck in a hotel, it's on TV. Yeah. I never went to the theater to see one, but I've seen every one.
I think I saw the one Adele did the song for. It wasn't Casino Royale. It might have been the slightly darker one. I think Javier Bardem was in that one, and I saw that in a theater.
Yeah.
They all kind of bleed together for me. I love it. I love Bond.
I love spy shit.
I love spy shit too. I'm out on the Bourne franchise.
This is where we divert.
Okay.
I am so much more Bourne than Bond.
Okay.
Because inside I believe that I could be special.
the man wearing like designer Crocs.
Yeah. Get him in there.
Yeah, there you go. I don't really. What I like about Bond and all previous Bond shit is how stylish it is. It's escapist for me.
Yeah.
And it actually scratches a similar itch to like Lord of the Rings, where I'm incapable of being critical about it, saying like, oh, this is a good Bond film or a bad Bond film or a good Lord of the Rings movie or bad. Like I watched all of Rings of the Power, the Amazon acquisition. I don't know if that show's good. I want to live in Middle Earth so badly that it's just sort of like I finally got like a new documentary.
I also want to live in Middle Earth, but it's just because of the state of our nation's politics.
I mean, Middle Earth is under the rule of Sauron and Saruman. I mean, that's a 1-to-1, my friend.
I don't know.
It's not going to get any better for you unless you can bring the one true ring to the Mount Doom through, Mordor to destroy the ring. Anyway, I love Lord of the Rings. I love the escapist of it and I love Bond for the same similar escapism.
Yeah,
around it because it's stylish and it's action and like I hate boiling it down to this. It's a little crude. Like Jason Bourne doesn't really get laid. And like Bond does, and it's sexy. Bond is sexy. Bond is sexy in the way that I feel no guilt at enjoying. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Jason Bourne is your blue collar Bond.
That's it. It's very tactical.
Yeah, he's not there to put on a great outfit. He's driving a beat up old Fiat.
I don't think Bond has. I don't think James Bond has ever looked something up on Reddit. I think Jason Bourne. 100% it was like looking up shit on Reddit like all the time.
Yeah, he's just like
how to build a
Blackwater.
Yeah. I think Jason is getting caught up, and I think Bond doesn't need to get caught up because he's got the suit, and that's pretty much all you need. He's got the little. Remember Casino Royale? He has a little defibrillator in the car, and he jolts his heart back after he gets poisoned at the card table.
That's insane.
That's the shit I love.
Yeah,
it's a little campy. I like it being a little campy. And Pierce Brosnan was great. I feel like he kind of got short shrift. In between Connery and Daniel Craig, I think he kind of got forgotten, and maybe he's having a Brosnaissance. We should have a Brosnaissance.
Yeah, everyone needs a Brosnaissance in their life. I think he made like 3 of them, Pierce Brosnan, and I think one of them did really bad, and the other 2 did fine. I think GoldenEye did great, and the other 2 were like fine. Yeah, and I think that was the death of the Brosnaissance.
The original. Yeah. Craig had a great run. Do you have thoughts around who you want as the next Bond? Do you think about this at all?
Idris Elba. I am so on the Idris Elba should be James Bond train.
Yeah.
The only thing is Idris Elba is a little bit older.
He's old now. We missed that mark.
But I don't know. I think he's still young enough to do it. I think Idris Elba is like one of the best British actors of all time. Like you just need to watch The Wire to be like, this is one of the greatest actors who's ever lived. Because his character on The Wire, which have you ever seen?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. His character on The Wire goes from being the character you hate the most to the end of his arc. Spoiler, if you want to watch The Wire, skip ahead 30 seconds. When Stringer Bell gets fucking killed, you're like, no!
Yeah.
Don't kill him.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's the guy you spent the whole show hating the most.
Yeah, because he had that Machiavellia.
Yeah.
That's his decoration style.
Yeah.
The Machiavelli book in his apartment, The Art of War and all that stuff. You're like, oh, you cunning motherfucker.
Yeah, and by the end of it, you're just like, oh, he's trying to get them out of the hood and like change and become legit business people.
Yeah. I mean, so Idris is probably not going to be Bond, but he is Knuckles the Echidna in the Sonic the Hedgehog movies.
That is true.
Which, that's one rung down.
From Bond?
Yeah, I think so. You're pretty close.
Yeah, Paramount Plus extended cinema series.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I wanted Idris Elba. I don't know who would be a young, cool actor to do it now.
As long as it's not Timothy Chalamet, I'm okay with it.
I don't like they couldn't.
No, they wouldn't.
No one.
No. There's no Timothy Chalamet.
It's gonna be someone we've never heard of, right? It'd be like one dude.
Maybe. I mean, that's the thing about the way culture is right now. Mm-hmm. Like, honestly, when Daniel Craig got Bond, I don't think I knew who Daniel Craig was.
No idea.
I maybe had seen him in I think it was in maybe a Guy Ritchie movie or something like that. So
that makes sense.
I think he was in Layer Cake, if I remember correctly, but I don't even really remember Layer Cake.
It's a title I remember. I don't remember anything else.
Yeah, I could be wrong. It might not even be a Guy Ritchie movie. Yeah, there's probably some hot young British actor we've never heard of who's gonna get Bond.
You know who I want to pitch? Who I actually would be interesting for me, and I don't think the rest of the world would necessarily agree with this. But did you watch that HBO show? Industry?
No.
There's a young Welsh actor. I can't remember his name. Should I look it up?
Yeah,
really
pull him
quick?
up.
If you're gonna do like a very young.
Oh, you know
Bond,
who's gonna be Bond? I can tell you right now who's gonna be Bond.
Who?
Fucking Gladiator 2. What's his name?
Mescal.
Paul Mescal.
Yeah, that's more likely. But what? No, in industry Welsh actor.
HBO.
Yeah, this kid, Harry Lotley.
Not big enough.
No, he's not. He's not at all.
Craig broke the mold where now Bond has to kind of be in shape.
Yeah. But
because you can't go from absolute James Bond, him walking out of. Are you looking up him shirtless?
I usually do.
No, okay. I could see this bringing back kind of classical English Bond,
right?
Yeah,
because listen,
but also
Brosnan was a tall, thin,
yes,
sort of Bowie shaped man.
Yeah, but you could also believe that he could throw some fists
for sure. I believe this kid would get his ass handed to him.
I don't know. He's got a chiseled jaw.
Yeah, he's very lean
this
and
version
tiny.
of him, yes, this guy can be Bond. The one with the longer hair, that version with the mustache could be Bond. This guy, absolutely not.
He cleans up. Hold on, let's wait.
Let's tag him in this. He'll be like, "Yes, I would like to be Bond."
Yeah, right?
Or how about let's just do this really quick. Just type in young British actors. And let's see. Yeah, of course. Number one pop up, Paul, his name's Paul Mescal?
Yeah, the Irish dude, right?
The Irish dude. That's 100% who would get it. Go back one. I don't know. Scroll down a little bit. Outside of him, who else is jumping out at you?
Oh, Will Poulter? That's an interesting choice.
No, that's too much facial reconstructive surgery on that man. Bond can't be Botoxed.
No, he should be. You know what? I could actually see it.
Yes, 100%.
Barry Keoghan. I could see it as a sort of Bond who does want to murder a little bit too much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Barry.
Yeah.
Go for it. You got our support.
You got our support.
Yeah. Should we do board?
Yeah, let's get into board. We were talking last night. We were trying to figure out what this board exactly was because we were kind of working through it.
Yeah.
And you had an idea of something AI versus Photoshop, and then I threw in the idea of is it analog of brands, of taking a brand's identity and figuring out in terms of how it reads to the outside world. Is it AI? Which it would mean basically generally off the rails.
Yeah.
Something doesn't ring true about it. The eyes are where the mouth should be.
Yeah.
Photoshop, which could go either way as nostalgic Photoshop or kind of creepy Photoshop. Mm-hmm. Trying to lie to you Photoshop, or it's kind of charming Photoshop, mm-hmm. which I think it has that scale. And then analog, which you put authentic after we talked about it.
So I think you summed that up pretty perfectly, because to me Photoshop is this. I mean, if I'm kind of being agnostic about it, and that saying that there's nothing necessarily good or bad about these tools, there is still a good, or there's still a positive and negative vibe that can come from these three things, right?
Yeah.
So Photoshop, it clearly can be, to me, is this sort of like 1 + 1 = 3. You can take a bunch of disparate elements and make something that feels collaged or new, or it's still an assembly tool, is a design tool to make something genuinely interesting. Negative version of Photoshop is it can feel like you are outright trying to manipulate or lie or fake something.
Yes.
There's something nefarious about it.
100%.
Or lazy or reactive.
And one of my brands that I brought in is 100% Photoshop.
See, I'm excited to get into this. So then, an authentic, I chose the word authentic just because that is the buzzword when it comes to talking about brands. Is your brand authentic? Exactly.
Yeah.
And
How to create authentic stories and connect to your customers.
which is just like at this point means nothing.
Yeah, which is just like robot influencer speak for like make it look gritty and real.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
People want behind the scenes,
Relatable.
and a story. Your brand has to tell a story that feels authentic.
And this is the negative version of it, right? Of like you were
Which to me, when that happens, it's just Photoshop.
totally. And I think the positive version of it is like, well, this is actually original and entertaining, and is not pulling its punches, and seems to be coming from a sincere place of wanting to do one thing and say one thing the way they want to say it.
Yeah.
Like the consummate definition of one of the brand doing this is always going to be liquid death, right? They don't seem to be compromised by anybody else. They're doing the thing they want to do. They're doing it sincerely. It all seems to kind of make sense. But authentic can also come off even conservative. It can come off traditional and lazy in there. Like, well, we put like, leather stamping kind of textures and
see those things slide to Photoshop for me. Once you're doing it for inauthentic, you're doing it to try to act authentic. It's not authentic.
Totally.
That's when you lose credibility.
Yeah, credibility is a huge part of it. And then
it's like trying to make vintage a shirt look vintage. It's just immediately not cool.
Right. When you're at like a H&M and you see like a weathered shirt and they'll have a hole in the exact same place.
On every one.
Yeah, at every single it's just like small, medium, large, extra large, they all have the same
I had
hole.
one that had like just little cuts in the neck from a band that I liked, and I bought the shirt not knowing it was going to have those like fake distress cuts, and then I was just like, well, I can't wear this thing.
It's a little, I mean, you're the only one that bothers, but like,
it's like this is now a sleeping shirt for my life. I get to reminded to put on their album every time, and I'm not going to say who because I really like the band.
Rough.
Yeah.
And the AI part is new in the cultural conversation. The negative part of AI, I think, is apparent at this point, which is just sort of like
demon,
absolutely dehumanizing, removing craftspeople from it completely.
100%.
But the positive side to me is the same thrill I get when like you're in a foreign country and they've interpreted English in a weird way. And you're just like, oh, I see what you tried to do there. It's completely wrong, but it's actually, there's something charming and better about it that way.
It's like bad animation. When you see bad animation, you're like, this is kind of, it makes it feel authentic.
Yeah.
You're like, it feels handmade.
Yeah. And there's something psychedelic, and in AI, they call it hallucinations, where it's like you couldn't take a good sum total average of what the fuck you were trying to make, and you went completely off the mark, and you made a mistake. And in human art, mistakes are the things that we're chasing. So AI stumbles into it, and there's something gets reflected back to us that is like, oh fuck, okay, weird, but I'm not mad at it. That's where I kind of land with the positive side of AI. Do you agree with that? Disagree with that?
No, I agree with that. I think it can be used to make interesting stuff. Jazz, there are no mistakes kind of thing. Mm-hmm. You can riff on it. And I do have hope for the future with AI of like solving global warming, curing cancers, things like that. But also I think that capitalist swine are going to use it to pilfer and put people out of work, and it's going to destroy the economy. And then we're going to have to rise up and overthrow corporate oligarchs and overlords.
Should we put corporate overthrow on the as a fourth corner on
As
this?
a fourth corner?
We can just do a follow-up on...
I think we do a follow-up.
Yeah, okay.
Also, speaking of, this is also a news thing, and it feels related. Did you see Elon Musk go out at CPAC to like talk, and someone gave him a chainsaw, and he's wearing like a baseball hat, sunglasses, and a crazy chain, and he's like jumping around like a fucking idiot. It is insane. It is pure drugs. Like, I watched it and I was like, this is the thing that only a rich white kid would do.
What in the fuck?
Yeah, you got to see the video of him like jumping around before he gets the chainsaw. It's ridiculous. It's once again, they love this commercial.
That'll last me a lifetime, but I'll only need one internet.
I think you could skip now.
Oh, please go.
The judge will allow the Trump administration's efforts to cut the government workforce to
employees. And his reception arrow at CPAC also shows, how close of an advisor he has become to President.
So why does he have the chainsaw?
They gave him a chainsaw, but that's not even
why?
the crazy part. When he walked out, the way he was like dancing and jumping around and sitting to talk, he looked like it's giving Chet Hanks.
Oh, God.
It's like, what are you trying to do here?
So this guy has a chainsaw, and he's like, hey, we got to get Elon the chainsaw.
This guy's the biggest fucking loser I've ever seen in my life. Like, no amount of, like, this is like the exact, like, they're going to make like the 90s selling out, having money, being corporate uncool again. And I'm all for that. Like, this guy's the biggest fucking dork I've ever seen in my life. He is the least funny human being who's ever walked the face of the earth. And all he wants to do is be funny, and it's ruining the world.
He should just take an improv class.
You should
just get humbled. Just get humbled and just try and do a Harold and see. Elon, go do a Harold. We'll do it with you. If you need to get it out of your fucking system. Everybody in here.
He wouldn't even get to make it to the class show because would be like, Elon, stop saying rape in every scene.
There is that guy. He is that guy.
Yeah.
Fuck. Okay.
Okay, sorry. But that just made me think of that.
Yeah, that's horrible. So we have a bunch of weird shit to kind of categorize here. Because Photoshop and authenticity and AI are a vibe, and I don't know where. Let's. Do you want to start with some of yours?
Sure. If we want to go with
Look
the
at all this
first
crazy shit we
I
have
know
here.
we went nuts. So right there, go McDonald's.
McDonald's. Okay.
Okay, McDonald's will make my first one, and zoom in. So there's a point. So if you even zoom in more, zoom in on the
Ron?
no, on the burger and fries. Like, that is Photoshop. Look at it. There isn't. They've like Photoshopped this to the point where it doesn't look like. It looks like.
It doesn't look like food.
It doesn't look like food.
Yeah.
It looks like play place. Like, it looks like toy food for kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, and it's really interesting. And I think this is an interesting thing about McDonald's as a brand. If you zoom out a little bit and look at the old school McDonald's, you can't get more authentic and more Americana than old school McDonald's, right?
Yeah.
15 cents hamburgers, the guy on the board, you do that. And then slowly, as they get more corporate, zoom out, look at the way the outside of the McDonald's go. They go from that to the green one to this, like, we built this in a factory McDonald's.
Yeah.
Every edge is polished. Everything, the whole company has become Photoshopped, and they feel dangerously close to being AI. Now, and to prove my point that they are sliding towards AI, can you go out a little bit more and then go over to the AI side of the board? I left something over on the AI side of the board, and that is Donald Trump handing out French fries. Tell me that doesn't feel AI.
Oh, 100%.
Like, that doesn't feel real.
Yeah. This looks like it is this a real photo?
This is a real photo from the actual when he went to McDonald's, but this feels AI. And the company has slowly slid into this.
Wait, okay. I think this is worth talking about, which is are we able to dissect why this feels AI? Because it 100% does.
The photo.
Yeah. The content of it feels AI. but I'm trying to figure out what it is about this that feel like
It's a meshing of two things that shouldn't go together. That's part of it.
For sure. Like
where you're like, the president and McDonald's shouldn't connect.
Yeah.
Right? Also, it's the photo, the kid in the background, the lighting doesn't match. So he's like weirdly dark while Donald Trump is completely lit up. And part of that is like the light bouncing
kind
off
of
the
got
friolator.
Like a Sauron Saruman kind of lighting going on.
Exactly. He's trying to steal the fries from the customers. The one true fries.
The one true onion ring?
Oh my God.
Nailed it.
But you know what I mean? Like this photo feels AI.
This absolutely does. Even the shallow focus of it feels like AI trying to like, oh no, it's a real photo. See the focus? See the focus?
Yeah, the weird depth of field thing.
Yeah.
Like it almost feels like he should be wearing the clown shoes. Like if we got the full body, if we filled this in, if one of the listeners wants to send us the full body with him wearing the clown shoes,
take this and feed into Midjourney.
Like if this was this photo and he had on the Ronald McDonald clown face paint, and stuff like that, you would be like 100%. Like no part of this feels real. Even like his weird little expression feels like it was taken from another photo.
Yeah, God, you're right. So okay.
And I think this damages the brand to the point where it's AI.
I think you're right.
Like the food's not real ananymore. We know that. They have food scientists who manipulate it. And like it used to be like McDonald's play place. Like remember the physical metal things? And then it became like the softer balls. And now it's this fucking like we built this in a factory McDonald's. Like that's the like 80s and 90s logo to the right. Right?
This guy.
And that feels real. But then you slide over to what's on the box, that fake smile Happy Meal thing.
It does look like this is an H&R Block that serves fries.
Yes. Yeah. There's no part of this that feels...
It looks like they want you to leave as soon as possible.
They don't even want you there. Those outside seats are not for people. If you sit on those, they drop you into a pit and turn you into a hamburger.
McDonald's is people. What I want to do is like kind of what we did with the mental health brand thing is start dragging them into the triangle.
Yeah, for sure.
So we can just grab one because I completely agree with you. I would have never thought about this, but McDonald's is absolutely the dark side of Photoshop.
100%.
In taking a food, I love a cheeseburger more than I think than any food on planet Earth. It's like maybe my most favorite comfort food. And to Photoshop it into something that doesn't even feel like real or tangible or even... like it's gonna decay.
Yes, 100%.
It's absolutely.
I think we want to go with the most generic of the McDonald's stores.
This one.
Yeah,
I think so.
Because that is the Photoshop McDonald's.
Let's start putting these guys in here.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I agree. And I would even say push it a little bit in between. You want it closer to AI?
I think it's closer to Photoshop. I think that Trump version is there. Yeah,
I agree. Just as a concept, I think McDonald's lives between Photoshop and AI.
Yeah.
I love that. I completely agree. Okay, I want to do a really difficult one.
Okay.
The Harris Walz campaign.
Oh my God.
Can I listen? Here's my disclaimer. Here's my preface. And you know this. I want everyone to know this. I've voted for Democrats my entire life. I voted blue. I will never stop voting blue. I align with the liberal progressive agenda. I think this was Photoshop.
Yes, but can I say that I think it's only Photoshop because it was a rush job. It's 1 hour photo. It's not one, you know what I mean? Or not 1 hour photo. They had like 90 days to put this thing together.
Okay. Here's where I'm going to start losing fans.
Okay.
I think the entire ticket and the entire campaign was Photoshop.
Okay.
I think Kamala would have done a great job. I voted for her. I liked Tim Walz. I
loved Tim Walz.
I voted for both of them. They got my vote. Upon reflection and how like wishy-washy now the Democratic Party is in the wake of what's going on, I kind of feel... Are you a Simpsons guy?
I've watched a lot of Simpsons, but I wouldn't describe myself as a Simpsons guy.
Are you aware of the Poochie phenomenon?
No.
Okay. in The Simpsons, and probably like season 8 or 9, you know, the Itchy and Scratchy
Yes.
cartoon. So they decide that the Itchy and Scratchy cartoon is getting low ratings, and they want to add a new character to boost the ratings, and it is death by committee. It's a mouse, a cat, and they say the natural order of things goes there must be a dog. So the guy had a dog.
I remember this.
So they had sunglasses. Then let's Rastafari him by 10%, and they give him a surfboard, and he has a leather jacket. And I unfortunately kind of feel like Kamala Harris was sort of the Poochie of the Democratic ticket of 2024.
And Tim Walz is kind of an additive to thatness.
I think so. I feel like we tried to Rastify it by 10% or so. It's well-intentioned.
That's a weird thing to say, though, because she's actually Jamaican.
I know, and I'm not happy with anything that I'm saying here.
Yeah.
But that's a direct quote from The Simpsons, not my personal feelings about Jamaicans or the Rastafarian culture. But I do kind of feel like it got photoshopped, and with good intentions. With good intentions, they photoshopped the best they could do in the face of.
Well, okay, so my version of this is...
Was that take too hot?
No. That take wasn't too hot, but I think I get what you're saying. And as a person who's like done a lot of self-reflection and done therapy, it feels like there were a bunch of people trying to put a campaign together for a person they didn't know well enough.
I agree with that.
You know what I mean? So if you don't know someone, you can't connect with them. Mm-hmm. And it was like other people's teams throwing together a thing. And then there was like user-generated content, a lot of it, like TikToks and memes and stuff like that. And like
the Kamala HQ Instagram account.
Making Kamala Brat.
Yeah.
And like all those things where they were like, just put everything on her.
Yeah.
And that's the part that makes it feel Photoshopped.
I think that's what I'm reacting to. Is
where
we tried to Photoshop too much onto her.
Where Bernie Sanders couldn't be more authentic.
So analog.
So
completely.
analog. The man is a record. And he's been playing the same record on a loop for our whole life. And I would even say someone like
I agree with that 100%.
Who I hope is running for president in the future, Pete Buttigieg. I feel, though he can be robotic at times, is a much more of a he's like almost like a Bernie has just been kind of saying the same things his whole career.
I co-sign on that.
Yeah,
I agree. Are you spiritually okay with me putting her?
I honestly, I get your point, and I can see where it's Photoshop and the Photoshop nature of it.
I'll put it over here because I don't think it wasn't inauthentic. It wasn't
inauthentic.
It was just too photoshopped.
It was just They sanded every edge off to try to get her there safely.
Yeah.
When honestly, the thing that people love are the edges. If you cut all the fat out of a joke, anybody could have told it.
Yeah. Then it's just a sad thing that
then
happened.
Then it's just
to
a
you.
tweet they could have read. Yeah.
I feel like we got there with that too much pain, and I appreciate you being open-minded to that because I read the news and I
have a newspaper, I think, in my bag right now.
A newspaper?
Yeah, I still get the paper delivery New York Times every day.
That's so cool and cute.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
But that went well. I thought that I was gonna get I don't know. You were nice to me. Maybe people in the comments are gonna hate me.
Well, that's also good for the video.
We'll take any engagement.
Engagement is good right now, baby.
Yeah.
I also think we're all as if you're listening to this, you're this far into the episode, you're probably a pretty liberal-minded person. You're probably wearing some funny colored glasses, and you're second screening this as you write with a mechanical pen on an iPad.
Yeah.
The guy who I just nailed all of those at home right now is just like, what the fuck?
Just sweating it out.
Yeah. This isn't we're at the gym watching this on the treadmill podcast.
Oh my God. If someone's working out to this podcast,
God bless you.
I mean, really,
there was going to be a point, but I got lost in the bit. So
yeah, it's going to happen. I think we can move on past Kamala. I think.
I was going to say the thing that we're all kind of like soul searching about is like, if you listen to say like a Pod Save America is like trying to figure out what's an authentic version of the Democratic Party that will cut through to people because they feel like it missed people, but it really didn't, because, you know, half of the country who voted still did vote for her. Just a 50 or 49%, 51% just voted for a fascist Nazi.
Yeah, that happens. That's just life. Where do you want to go next? Do you got something on your board? You have so much good. Do you want to talk about this about?
Sure, you want to go?
You have a lot of fun. You talked to me about a polo Ralph Lauren thing last
night when we were talking about
that.
This.
I was not able to follow really any of it because you have such intimate. I really want to see you break this down for me.
For sure. So I'm not an expert on Ralph Lauren and polo, but I have been in the space and like a fan and like a person who's worn polo on and off for my whole life since I was a teenager, right? And so when you think of Ralph Lauren, you kind of think of Ralph Lauren, who people are like, he's the great American designer, and he really is. And so to me, Ralph Lauren as a company is an authentic company.
By the way, let's zoom
this
in.
is the man himself in
on
the
our
corner.
Guy who like every photo of him just has got that.
Yeah, he's got swagger.
Sprezzatura.
He's got the swagger. This is like he goes between like 3 or 4 different looks himself, Ralph. And this is like old Hollywood Ralph, which is one of our favorites, like the classic double-breasted suit, the silly car he's standing in front of, that looks like a giant penis that probably costs $100 billion, while his yacht's just hanging out in the background.
Oh, yeah, oh my God, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah.
Dude, where is he from? Do you know where he comes from?
I think he's just from like Jersey or Long Island.
No.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you mind if I Google this?
Yeah. Ralph Lipschitz is his actual name.
If he's just like a Jew from Long Island.
He is.
Fucking Mazel Tov. The Bronx, of course.
From the Bronx, yeah.
Lifshitz. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I love it. Man, New York Jews, we're out there.
Yeah. One of the greatest fashion designers of all time. So inside of Polo, or Ralph Lauren, really. So Ralph Lauren is the umbrella brand of the entire company. And of Ralph Lauren, there are sub-labels.
Right. Not an uncommon thing.
Not an uncommon thing.
Major brands.
And each label kind of has its own vibe, right? So there's Ralph Lauren and which is like the kind of traditional, like the suit, the jacket, the polo shirt, like all the stuff you're kind of used to. Then there's Polo.
And is that stuff extremely expensive?
Medium. It's the higher end, but the really high end is Purple Label, which is like the fancy ass shit.
I think I've seen that.
I have one Ralph Lauren Purple Label pink button down shirt that I found in a thrift shop for like $10, and it's the softest thing I've ever touched in my life. I don't know how somebody let it go, right? So then so Purple Label is the top of the pyramid. Then there's Ralph Lauren. Then there's Polo. Then there's below Polo. There's something called Polo Sport. Which Polo Sport kind of goes in and out. And then side over is Double RL, which is like one of the higher end labels, which is like the Americana brand of Ralph Lauren.
That was familiar to me. I think I did some eBay time.
Yeah, which is like the version where you might see someone dressed up like an old chimney sweep or a B-2 bomber. Yeah, kind of Ralph Lauren stuff.
Yeah.
And sometimes they do like old like they dress like the people in Tokyo who are dressed like the full-time Japanese director kind of thing.
Oh.
You know?
Okay.
And then there is, I'm forgetting one. And then there's Chaps, which was like the off-brand below Ralph Lauren, which was like you can get it at Sears or Macy's kind of thing.
Oh God. Okay. You really have this committed memory. It's impressive.
Well, it was a lot of my childhood. And then inside of all of those brands, there are subcultures. So right here, if you go to, this photo right here, is the Ralph Lauren Polo 50th anniversary thing, right? And everything can be wrapped into Ralph Lauren because everything is Americana, everything's old school. And so there isn't a thing that doesn't make sense in the world of Ralph Lauren. So scroll in a little bit. So this is Polo, Ralph Lauren. And so this is kind of like the Polo sports stuff a little bit. And it mixes both like, there was a thing in Polo where all of these like hood dudes started stealing polo sport and polo stuff.
Yeah, this was
And it was
to me classic Wu-Tang era.
And they were called the Lowlifes. That was like the
Oh.
name of that. And it was like a fashion thing in New York, like smash and grab. Like people would have like the teddy bear sweater and then the
Yeah.
oversized like windbreakers with the polo sports stuff and the bucket hat. And they made it like cool and hip hop. And that whole thing is where Aimé Leon Dior comes from. Aimé Leon Dior is just a reinterpretation of Ralph Lauren. It's a nostalgia play on New York street culture of the 90s.
Whoa. So if I'm remembering right, there was also a relatively racist backlash.
That was Tommy Hilfiger.
That was Tommy Hilfiger. Got it. Okay.
Polo. This is one of the things about Ralph Lauren. My man's a Jew.
My guy
He's not going to.
from the Bronx.
From the Bronx.
Yeah.
He's always predominantly included cultures that aren't white. So
It's the schmata business all over again.
you look at his photo albums, his catalogs, everything for his whole career. He like made Tyrese famous.
Really?
Yeah, because Tyrese was like a Ralph Lauren model.
Wow, I didn't know that.
So he's always been super
I'm just
inclusive,
realizing I do blend Tommy Hilfiger and Ralph Lauren.
and they're very different guys.
Well, Hilfiger's very waspy,
Yes, and
clearly, because they didn't want any black people wearing it.
yeah, and also it's just not as good as Ralph Lauren, because that's the thing. Ralph Lauren is authentic. It all stems from a man's deep love of stuff. The only problem is if you zoom out a little bit, occasionally, like this one rubs on the border. Slide over. Slide over. The right corner, maybe. Like at some points, Ralph Lauren does almost fall into Photoshop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like this is like, okay, what are we doing here? But every single piece as an individual, good. As a maximalist thing, does not hit the mark for me. But it's not terrible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not
Wait,
good. It's
this
like
is-
so close to being bad, but they like pull it off. It's like a plane trying to land in the wind. You're like, you did it, but there were moments where we didn't think this
It
was
was a
going to
little bumpy.
happen, Delta.
So this the colors in this is also an interesting, just like marketing, like promo photo. It's funny. The first thing that comes to mind for me is, and goes back to some of our pilot episodes, is Memphis design.
Oh yeah.
This feels like an Americana dude like saw the B-52s and was like, I got it, and then took it home and like, Ralph, maybe not exactly that. Okay, well, I'll try again. You know, it's like that poppy Peter Shire Memphis group kind of color and excitement, but also feels like this imaginary like Ivy League where everyone is a little gay. Like I don't know. It just,
Yeah.
Like it just doesn't really. This doesn't really connect in a way. This much texture and color, but stripes, to be honest.
Yeah, it also feels like a world that you're not supposed to be a part of.
I gotta say you're right.
This is kind
Yeah.
of keeping you at a distance. Like
You're
this is
totally right. This feels inaccessible.
yes. It doesn't feel like a
And it's multicultural. It just does feel like I'm not invited.
Yeah. It's like what are we doing here? Like what fish concert? It's not even it's like what Vampire Weekend private show did you guys all just come from and decide to dress like this together as a bit?
Yeah. This is absolutely Photoshop. I completely see that.
I don't think it totally falls into it, but hold on, slide over.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. We can even zoom slide over a little more. Top zoom in
On this guy?
above that guy.
Oh well.
So
Send the bet. I mean,
here's the thing.
yeah.
The good, the bad, and the Annie Hall, right?
Yeah. I don't know what you need to use that for, but that is fantastic for something in your
Yeah.
life. Please reuse
could-
that. I love that.
This is Ralph Lauren did the costumes for Annie Hall.
Did he really?
So Diane Keaton's whole look and our whole vibe and her whole career of being this lady who dresses this way is all Ralph Lauren.
Wow.
Because this is where we meet her and we get the image of Diane Keaton or not Diane Keaton. Yeah,
Diane Keaton.
Diane Keaton as this like
Style icon.
style icon vest, and it was all Ralph Lauren, and even the Woody Allen in this, the white pants, the white shirt.
It was like Jack Purcell's
And
probably.
we've kind of talked about this in the past when it comes, because we're going to do a board on Ivy at some point, and this Ralph Lauren brushes very much up into this, and it will be this kind of thing is kind of in the lane of that episode eventually.
Yeah.
But like at what point is it punk rock and what point is it waspy? Because being even in this, you're what Granny Hall would call a real Jew.
God, I forgot that quote. Yeah.
It's like he's like waspy, but he's also still kind of punk rock, and that's like the point. The thing that I like about Ralph Lauren is because it's always been inclusive. It's always been Ivy adjacent. It is like the most.
You're right. It's not.
It's
fully
always
in
been
the
the
most.
most. Yeah, it's always been the most Hollywood. It can be the most elegant. It can be a lovely suit, but also he's like the guy who's like, let's just mix it all together. So like that's what that polo photo is.
But I just want to this specific Annie Hall look. I mean, like my third or fourth year in LA, I go to the Cinespia screenings, and they have Annie Hall, and it's like kind of a light Rocky Horror thing people do, where they had to kind of dress up in costumes from iconic movies. And listen, I'm single at the time, so I can put this in context. I can say this, that it was just nothing but cute LA girls wearing this exact outfit, and I'm falling in love 15, 20 times.
That's
just like scanning
you're just
palatial
like,
graveyard.
You're like, who's gonna be my Sun Yi?
I was in love with all these girls in their little vests and their big ties. And
they were all just probably, and they were all probably just wearing vintage Ralph Lauren.
Probably, or just like something off the rack from Uniqlo. But
Currently,
didn't matter to me.
Or currently Ralph Lauren.
Yeah,
because that's kind of the thing. He just recycles the same thing over and over again, and sometimes it's a big hit, and sometimes it's kind of a miss, but also it's very rarely a miss. Like, look at this double RL chore jacket below this guy. This is kind of the like a quintessential. This is just Americana. He's just nailing it. You're wearing the jacket right now. I'm wearing a version of it too.
This is literally from Uniqlo.
Yeah.
As I make that joke. I mean, this is like Uniqlo just ripping off of something that's probably...
But I had this jacket that was like a Sears and Roebuck jacket.
Sure.
Before that. So they just constantly do the Americana thing. Yeah. And they take it back too far a little bit. And like that's old Ralph Lauren is this kind of like waspy. That's like the most like... This feels very 90s Ralph Lauren, like we're all headed to our palatial estate kind of thing.
Yeah. This is,
this was rugby. So this is a line that isn't around anymore. Established 2004. So this line is gone, but this was the Ivy League line.
This is very familiar to me. It's funny. This might be the first perception I had of Ralph Lauren. And then this,
there was a
time in New York where
and that's double RL.
Every store had to look like this.
Yes. 1,000%.
The J. Crew liquor store?
Yeah.
The one in, what was it?
Which I think is the Todd Snyder liquor store now.
Is it really?
It might be.
Like Lower East Side, right? Yeah.
But and that's all taken from Japanese culture stuff. There's all the lowlife stuff. And like, tell me that's not.
But you're absolutely right. If you
low
told me this
life
was a lookbook from today, I'd be like, that's fucking cool.
Yeah, and this is just Low Life's meet Seinfeld is Amy Leon Dior.
Yeah. So wait, are you able to explain the origin of the Low Lives and give me better context to that?
They were just a bunch of like dudes who thought polo clothes were great and did a lot of smash and grab shit at like Macy's.
And they called themselves the Low Lives?
Yeah.
I've never heard of this before.
Yeah. It's like a cool subculture of like New York. Like when I think of Low Lives, I think of like Ghostface Killah and Raekwon. Oh. And I think of that first Daytona 500, the first like Iron Man, the first Ghostface Killah record. And it's done in like the polo sport colors and logo.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to place some of these on the triangle there. What do you want to...
So I think polo is authentic.
One needs to live directly and authentic. Like,
I would honestly go with, I kind of like this dude in the Yankees jacket. I think that this guy, and then there's all the little sweaters in there and stuff like that too that we didn't even really get into. But I think that's the most authentic. And at no point does it. I'm really kind of sad that they didn't make a Mets version of that jacket, that like green Yankees jacket.
Yeah.
If they made a Mets version of that, I would have bought it.
Like we talked about in one of our pilot episodes, the Yankees have cop energy and the Mets have firefighter energy.
100%. Was that in this football?
Yeah.
Yeah, episode.
Yeah.
I think we should just redo that board. At first I was like, we can't, but now I think
we
can.
should now that
Yeah.
we're even just so deep into it.
Okay, what do you got?
Oh boy. Okay, I want to see if you agree with me. I actually have 3 folks that I want to look at because we have a triangle and we have these 3 iconic artists.
Okay.
I feel like, so we're talking about brands, and I do feel like pop stars clearly are
brands.
Are brands to themselves.
Yeah.
They are. You are not this successful without having a brand and knowing who your audience is and how to market yourself and I feel like maybe we can even just do this quickly, but I feel like between these 3, Chappel Roan, Sabrina Carpenter, and Billie Eilish, I know where each one is on the triangle for me. I'm curious if you would line them up the same way.
Okay. I'm
gonna hold on. Let me move our girls
to the center.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And if any of these artists do not actually identify specifically as female, I could see 2 of these. Maybe they go by they them. I don't really know, but I'm just gonna say girls for now, with that acknowledgement.
Also, I think you say women, not girls.
I'm an old man, and they're younger than me, so they're little teenage girls to me. These
How
young
old is
women,
Sabrina Carpenter? Because I feel like Sabrina Carpenter is like 40, secretly 42.
She does feel like she has divorce energy.
She has divorced in the 70s
Yes,
energy.
exactly.
Which I think is part of the brand.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I think if I'm guessing and you tell me yes or no, and I'm guessing for you, I think Billie Eilish is 100% authentic.
Wow. No.
Really?
Yep. Oh, should I just go for it? Should
Yeah,
do you want to continue?
No, I think when I think of these people, I think of Billie Eilish as an authentic person.
I think they're all authentic. I don't. Or rather, I don't think they're insincere. I think they're presenting their product in a sincere way. I personally feel that.
I
way.
don't.
Okay, I'm gonna get Sabrina Carpenter as the outlier for you.
Sabrina Carpenter to me feels
Industry plant,
it doesn't feel real.
and that's why she's AI.
Yeah, like it.
I'm just gonna do it.
Oh, see, I flip. I think Chappel Roan is Photoshop, and I think Chappel Roan is.
There's an argument to be made.
Chappel Roan is just doing an impression of other things she's seen, which makes her feel Photoshop to me. It doesn't feel authentic. Like if you scroll over to the right to the male artists from the 70s you have,
Yeah.
I feel like Chappel Roan is just doing her version of Madonna, David Bowie, Lady Gaga.
I have to think about that now.
It doesn't feel no part of and I could be wrong, but to me, no part of the Chappell Roan thing feels authentic. It feels like, or I shouldn't say that. It feels like, you know how people say steal until you figure out who you are? Mm-hmm. I think she's doing that and she still hasn't figured out who she is. I think she's stealing influences and hasn't necessarily put it through who she is yet.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
I think you convinced me.
Yeah.
I agree with that. But the reason Billie Eilish was Photoshop is not because it feels insincere or it's the good side of it. It feels her music is so produced,
Yes.
and lives in a computer.
Yes, but that's the times we live in.
Right, but also like the Strokes were produced in a computer.
Yeah.
But they don't sound like they were produced in a
No,
computer.
they probably ran it through an analog tape before
Yeah.
pressing it to vinyl.
Exactly. I feel like Billie. I mean, there's a oh god, this I'm not sure if it wasn't Song Exploder. Maybe it was what's the name? Is it Hooked on Pop? What's the?
Is it the one where they show her all the different cuts to the 47 takes to make the one song?
No. There was, or it might have been Mark Ronson's podcast at some point. Someone.
Mark Ronson has a podcast?
Yeah. We ever watch his Apple show?
No.
Oh, it's so good. No one talks about it. He has a great limited series about making music. One episode is just called Reverb. And he goes into like the history of reverb and what it means and how to use it. It's so cool.
This is 100% up my alley.
Oh my God.
This is what I want to watch.
It's called like Watch the Sound or something. It's great. It is. If you watch it, you will be the second person who's ever watched the show. I was the first person to watch it. Maybe not including Mark Ronson himself. Maybe he didn't even watch all the tapes.
Probably didn't watch it.
Yeah. But I'm stealing this from someone much smarter than me that,
Like Chappel Roan?
Billie Eilish's music feels very minimal and very bassy, and like someone's kind of whispering into a mic.
It's called bedroom pop.
Bedroom pop. And there's this idea that that music is successful right now because people are listening to music on AirPods, which don't have a lot of range, and you can only really hear like vocals and bass because it's such a tiny little thing that doesn't have a lot that can produce like sonically. So there's a reason music like Billie Eilish is that's not the exclusive reason, but it's succeeding because of this, like you have like a tiny thing that can only really highlight bass and voices, and music is working that way. It's a very electronic, digital, put together in post kind of thing. That's why I associate with Billie Eilish's music.
I understand that, but I think at the end of the day, the thing people are connecting to is her vulnerability and emotion. And that's like the same thing that like the same anger about Kurt Cobain that 13-year-old boys loved when he dropped, I think is the same thing that they love about her.
I agree with you on that. My last counterpoint that she's Photoshop is that as much as you're saying Chappell Roan is kind of just like aping from these other incredible artists until she figures out who she is, like Billie Eilish is like a Hot Topic Y2K kid.
Yeah.
I've seen like it's and that is very Photoshoppy to me. Of like,
see, because that's my childhood, it feels authentic.
But it's not her childhood. It's not her childhood.
Yeah, but like that's probably the parents she grew up with. Like I'm probably old enough to be Billie Eilish's dad.
No, her parents are.
How old is Billie Eilish?
She's.
I had my first pregnancy scare at 13. Billie Eilish could be my kid.
Well, you're an ambitious young man.
I wasn't ambitious. My parents made mistakes.
I think her parents are Gen Xers,
which would make sense. Wait, scroll back up. It was just right there. 23.
23.
Billie Eilish could totally be my child if I was a Christian in the Midwest.
She was born after 9/11.
Yeah.
Yeah, she could be your child.
Yeah, she would be my 9/11 love child.
Again, use that for something with The Good, the Bad, and the Annie Hall.
Yeah.
Follow up, my 9/11
love child.
If I ever clip this out, there's going to be nothing but just asterisks on those subtitles. Anyway, so we can go back and forth on this forever.
I think for both, I'm not going to agree with you on this one. You can flip Chappell Roan down to, and also to be fair to Chappell Roan, I don't have a deep bench knowledge of Chappell Roan. I am a person on the outside. Like I've listened to some of her music. I've seen her in interviews. It's pretty much in interviews and like, when she walked out to get her award and she was wearing that ridiculous outfit where it falls off for me, it feels like somebody who's like, saw one Samuel Beckett play and is like, I'm going to dress like a Dada clown.
Well, how do you feel about this?
I think Billie needs to be above. Yeah, there you go. I can live with that.
Some like this.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's fine.
We're not living in the middle of the match, but I think we can agree. I mean, I'm going to put Sabrina over here because I don't think her approach to the pop music she's making and the way she's presenting like female sexuality is insincere at all. But when you see the way she presents it, it's not.
It feels robotic.
Yeah, in this way that's genuinely interesting to me. It's not Christina Aguilera. It's not Britney Spears.
No.
It feels like her hands are on the wheel of this machine and she's presenting back to us like a funhouse version of like
femininity from the 50s and 60s.
Yeah, and cheekiness and cheesecake and like I feel like she's in control of this and there's something kind of warped about it that she is doing intentionally.
Maybe. I saw her perform with Paul Simon for the SNL 50th,
Uh-huh.
and I was like, these two things do not belong next to each other.
Yeah, that's a weird call.
And I get why she was there. She has a beautiful voice, but it felt weird because Paul Simon felt so authentic. And then it was just like, and now here's this Hollywood famous person next to her. You know what I mean? Like if it would have been Billie Eilish and Paul Simon, I would have been like, weird combination, but makes more sense.
I disagree. I think Sabrina Carpenter actually belongs in the sort of like the 2025 canon of like these, because there's a wait, hold on. There's a photo of these three artists together. That I don't know why it just does it. It just does it for me. Of like,
okay, we got to talk about this. In this photo, I will now agree with you. I will now flip this. That like Sabrina, never mind. Her makeup is too insane. Like.
Chappel Roan's makeup's too insane?
No.
Oh, Sabrina's.
Sabrina Carpenter. Billie Eilish looks like she's trying to be in a FUBU ad from the early 2000s.
Right?
It doesn't feel authentic. I understand to her it might be.
Yeah.
None of this feels real to me.
I think, do you think that's an age thing? Because we can see all the references?
Maybe.
Because I don't think this is insincere.
Like Chappel Roan feels like a weird Cher thing going on.
Yeah, but she also, to me, this is like, it's drag culture. It's like so many things that are authentic to her. I think they're all relatively sincere and authentic, but I feel like the brand they put out there is something, to me, the brand they put out, the optics are Photoshop, AI, analog.
I would flip AI and analog with the, I don't know. They all feel fake to me. None of this feels real. You know what I mean? This all feels like people doing make-believe.
Well, isn't that what it is? Being a pop star, it's none of it's real.
That's true, because they are all pop stars. They're
Yeah. Now, what about what was the real David Bowie?
Yeah, and also that's very true. And also when I think of David Byrne, you think of the big suit.
Shifting, Cher did the same thing. Madonna did the same thing as part of it. Lady Gaga, I think, is a very sincere and authentic artist, but is trying things on. I mean, the fucking Beastie Boys were punks and then skaters, and then they're hip hop dudes. I mean, like not as wide a breadth as like wearing a meat dress like Lady Gaga, but
yeah,
you know, you try shit out. Should we move on?
Yeah, I'm gonna just spend the next week listening to all their music and going down rabbit holes to better try to understand them.
It's a little confusing. I'm not sure. I'm not saying it's
you know
easy.
what's funny? I will say this: there's one person who's missing from this group of three who I feel like should be included, which is Doechii.
I was gonna include her, but I didn't. That photo was too perfect for me to like.
Yeah.
I think Doechii is,
because she was also in that same Grammys conversation, and I think
she's
Doechii
an incredible conversation to
is
have.
the fucking most authentic.
But
did you see that performance at the Grammys?
Yeah, she's incredible,
fucking real.
But have you listened to the album front to back?
Not front to back. I've just heard tracks.
Okay, and again, I really like her, but I will say, as this is her like breakout album.
Yeah.
When I listen to that album, I'm like, this is a Lauryn Hill song. This is a Kendrick song. This is a Wu-Tang song she's doing. Like, I can hear
the influences,
which is not bad. Everyone's influenced by someone, and you live long enough, you're gonna make connections no matter what.
Yeah.
I'm not saying she's
Is
unoriginal.
it just that we kind of everything is like?
Am I because we're fucking old white guys in our 40s now, and we have
but like
a couple decades of references.
But like, I grew up on Wu-Tang, right?
Yeah.
I grew up on Jay-Z. I grew up on Biggie.
If I remember a story you told on stage once, you have a carpet sample that was once owned by.
I do. That's funny. That's the only time I've ever told that story on stage. Oh my God, I forgot about that. I'm putting it back in the act. The thing is all those artists felt original. None of them felt like they were doing somebody else. Like the same thing with Bowie. The same thing with
what reference spaces you have prior to that
of what they were doing.
Just of anything.
Yeah.
You were how old
when I first found like David Bowie
or Wu-Tang?
Oh, Wu-Tang. Whatever year 36 Chambers came out. So I think 94 or 92.
So if it's like 1992, you're what, in like
But also
fourth
like,
grade?
but also if you look at those guys in retrospect, they didn't have like their influences were kung fu movies and like
Sure.
project culture.
Yeah.
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like you don't get more authentic than Wu-Tang Clan. Like I guess it's kind of this thing now where
Well, now I feel like we're coming back to our original, like, what does this shit even mean? What does authentic even mean? Because it's like, is it because it's sincere to you, or is it just because like your audience hasn't seen it yet?
I think it's
Because if there's an argument to be made of like, I am Photoshop. I think I have a relatively like not original style, but it's a sincere like way I present myself. But you could pick me apart. I mean, you would if someone was going to like if you asked ChatGPT to describe me, those words could just as easily describe the way you dress and operate throughout the day.
Yeah.
And I don't think we're like, what's my point here? I guess is like, what is authentic? What is authentic at the end of the day?
And to go back to like what these fucking influencers are saying, something that like that feels like that has an emotional undercurrent that feels true to that person and their story. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Ralph Lauren feels true for a brand. It feels true because it's coming through like the zeitgeist of Ralph Lipschitz and
Yeah.
like the way he views the world. And his influence at times he slides towards Photoshop because it can become almost campy
Yeah.
and cartoonish.
And he's stealing something. It's
and
great
he's
to steal.
stealing
Yeah.
something. He's stealing from American like garment history
Mm-hmm.
and like European history and stuff like that. And like great musicians do that too. Is it just that thing of like culture's gotten so flattened and so compressed that like
And there's so much of it that we have
and
to
there's
pay
so
to-
much of it that it's like hard for things to feel authentic anymore. My
I
friend,
think you're right. I don't disagree with that at all.
I have this friend, his name's Sean Solomon, right? He's a musician, but he also like is a cartoonist and he makes TV shows and draws funny cartoons. He did these like shirts that feel like Simpsons adjacent that would be like Slipknot. And it would be all of them on like a playground, and they got very popular and they were kind of all over the place. And he's on tour in Europe right now. And he's doing this thing where he's playing music next to a video, like a television that's playing a cartoon that he drew himself that goes with the song that he's playing. And it has like the backing track on it. And it feels 100% authentic. And I can see where the reference points come from. But it's like it's so ingrained in him that it can't be anything else. Where each
I think that's an important distinction, is that if it feels like, correct me if I'm wrong, the way I'm hearing it from you is like this for
they're trying on things, that's who he is.
I hear you and I don't disagree. I guess the only thing I would
Like
say,
Doechii feels authentic because it doesn't feel like she's trying anything on. You know what I mean?
I guess I
she's
don't,
not in her like even Dave. I would put David Bowie in Photoshop because of all the
Totally.
different things.
Yeah.
and like the music's phenomenal.
Well, wait, let's move over to these three, and this is which is obviously a little bit funnier and kind of stupid because I have someone on here who's like just
ridiculous,
a massive headache of a person, but like this helps kind of contextualize or triangulate something here. But like I think we can agree
Lou Reed is the most authentic.
Arguably not the founder, but the sort of like the original thought behind punk rock as a lineage.
It's him and the Beatles.
Yeah.
Sgt. Pepper is kind of one of the first punk albums, I would say. And Heroin and like the early Velvet Underground sound. But he's also like heavily influenced by like old soul bands like Dion and stuff like that are like,
So, Bowie clearly Photoshop.
He's the original Photoshop and he's the best version of it. And it's like him taking like Japanese culture stuff that Americans knew nothing about and the UK knew nothing about.
And then Machine Gun Kelly.
I don't even know what that is. I just know that's a thing, Machine Gun Kelly, but I don't know.
It's like,
I don't know if he's a musician. I don't know if he's a boxer. I don't know.
He probably would tell you.
I think
he could be any of those things.
I think he dates a Kardashian.
He was dating Megan Fox. Exactly.
Which is also a Photoshop person.
Completely Photoshop person.
Yeah. If you're in a Transformers movie, you're a Photoshop person, unless you are, who's the fucking pulled his tooth out for the movie, was the lead, Crystal Skull, lost his mind, Jojo, not, Honey Boy.
Shia LaBeouf.
Shia LaBeouf. Yeah. Shia LaBeouf is an authentic person who got put into Photoshop world, and it broke his brain, and he slid it into AI.
Okay, wait.
A lot just happened.
A lot just because this is melting my brain a little bit now too, because we're getting so into this, which is actually, this is a way more interesting conversation than I anticipated. To quickly, Machine Gun Kelly is remember we talked about the scenesters in the last episode? He's like a scenester emo rapper. He is a protege of Travis Barker, to give you
the drummer of Blink-182. Yeah. Travis Barker and hip hop have only gone together one time, and I guarantee you Travis Barker is going to show up on a list of people who were at Diddy parties. So anything that Travis Barker...
He's on the Evite.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm out on Machine Gun Kelly. Yeah. There is no way that look at this kid.
But I want to... the reason... I would just want to... The reason I would just want to talk about it is that you could say he's Photoshop. He's so far on the other end of being like horrifically cobbled together by like an empty heart and head and an industry and like what the fuck he is, and there's like very credible evidence that he's had like hair transplants. Like,
I'm pro hair transplants.
Yeah, I guess I am too.
As my friend Joel McHale would say, just go buy hair.
There was someone on Subway Takes who said that hair trans should be gender affirming care.
It is,
and I think it's fucking absolutely accurate. I don't mean to throw shade on hair transplants.
Have we talked about Mo Salah on this?
No, I don't think so.
Oh my God. Type in Mo Salah. Mo Salah is one of the greatest football players who's ever lived. He's currently the star of Liverpool. He was going to be in what should be like his like end of an era season. He scored more goals in the Premier League than anybody. But type in Mo Salah hair plugs right now on the... or hair transplant. It's the greatest hair transplant story. Mo Salah went from being like, it's the end of his career to where's the best photo? There's a photo. Click that one right there.
This one?
Yeah. I feel like this is a good one. There's a better photo of him in like a sweater and stuff like this. But Alexis Guerreros, who you know is one of my best friends, said he went from being an Egyptian prince to a Dominican king. Which is like one of my favorite jokes ever.
What a glow up. That's great.
But in soccer, hair plugs is like the most
common,
super common. Like they all get free ones and they do ads for the places. You know, even people talk about Donald.
I love that.
Yeah, people even talk about like Donald Glover's hairline now and how he had his hairline fixed. Like Tom Hanks is one of the great hair plug stories of our generation.
Oh, I didn't know that, but also like go and get him. Anyway, I did not mean to besmirch those who have had their plugs haired.
Yeah, but I'm pro.
But he's a weird dude, and similar to Sabrina Carpenter, reflects back what like machines are like. Rock and roll. I know what you want. You want the thin white Duke with Travis Barker tattoos, and also he has like emo hair. It's just like this like abomination of all the worst parts of everything that actually becomes kind of Cronenberg-y interesting.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I want to say about
He looks like somebody, to me, he looks like somebody with bad taste, who's hot, who's stumbled ahead in life.
That's a path.
Yeah.
Look at what happened for you.
Yeah.
You're hot.
I'm an idiot.
And gorgeous.
but people want to fuck me, so they laugh and laugh and laugh.
I forget where we were supposed to go. Oh, wait. Okay, wait. This is... I've already uncorked it just by teasing it, but I feel like
we love you, Mo Salah.
Mo
Salah's on the team that my team is going against, and he's such a good football player and such a good dude that I'm still so pro Mo Salah. You want an interesting Mo Salah fact?
Sure.
And I think I might have told you this on the soccer episode that we never released. Mo Salah is so famous and popular in Egypt. He did an anti-suicide campaign ad, and the suicide rate in Egypt fell by like 20 or 30%.
That's amazing.
That he was like, hey, don't kill yourself. Talk to somebody. And people were like,
Got it, Mo.
Yeah, exactly.
I hate talking about this guy, but it kind of feels like
I feel like we got to put him next to the Woody Allen photo.
I hate that. I hate him. I think he's an abhorrent human being at this point.
Yeah.
But it's
also, not to be fair, but also like he's a person who has clear mental illness.
Yeah.
That like has gone unchecked because he's rich. You know what I mean? Kind of like we're seeing with Elon Musk.
Yep.
It's a mixture of like clearly a a very smart person who's gone off the rails and off their meds.
Yeah. So obviously, we could do a whole fucking episode about Kanye.
We won't.
We won't. We could do, because if like where he lives on this, we're talking about college dropout, we're talking about where he is today. I don't know. Should I just delete this? Is it even worth talking about?
No, we can talk about it.
Well,
I mean, he's one of the most important like
artistic figures
in the past 2 decades.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't get Jay-Z's The Blueprint without Kanye West. He produced like half of that. He produced Commons B. There are so many great. He touched so many great things. He like changed fashion. He was like a huge touchstone in like what was popular in men's fashion for a long time.
Everyone was a fan at some point.
Yes.
Which is it's the fall from
I
grace.
was a college dropout. Like that period. Like
I was Dark Twisted Fantasy was.
Yeah, at that point I was
lush,
kind of
wonderful record.
Yeah, at that point I was like after 808 and Heartbreaks, I was kind of like on my way out.
Yeah, but I almost want to say, unfortunately, I think he's just AI at this point.
He's gone full AI. Yeah.
Yeah, I think a pretty dark end of it.
Yeah. Yeah, he almost feels like a simulation broke.
Yeah, you know, there's like this sort of thing happening where like there are guardrails on AI, so you can't create pornography of somebody you know, or child pornography, or misinformation. You know, like they have these guardrails, so you can't actively make something harmful or terrible.
Can we get those for our government?
No, we cannot, unfortunately, because Elon Musk is going to just buy up the company. But there are companies, obviously, that are destructively free speech and want to take off these guardrails. And there are tools where you obviously can use AI to make porn of your friends and shit like that. And I'm not sure if this would be called jailbroken in the way, you know, like you can jailbreak an iPhone or whatever. But like Kanye does feel like jailbroken AI, where it's like, oh no, you weren't supposed to take that off. Like if you were taking the sum total of shit from the internet, the Nazi shit's gonna get in there, and it clearly got in this simulation.
Oh yeah,
and it just soured, and we have to be like, oh, shut the thing down.
Yeah.
I think we can. That's all the time we need to spend on Kanye.
Yeah, it's one of the saddest stories.
Oof. We have so much more stuff. Let's just do a couple more.
Okay, cool. Where are we on time?
We have 10, 15 minutes left. I think.
You want to check the old? Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Maybe let's do one more. Let's just do one more.
Okay, this is really tough. Okay, let's.
Waffle House.
Let's go Waffle House.
Let's finish. So on Waffle
I will
House.
say this: I had 2 other boards pull out really quick. One is the Grateful Dead, and then the other.
You want to quickly do both?
No, I think we can make a whole episode of this out of the Grateful Dead, honestly.
Okay.
And the other is you know what? Fuck it. Let's do the Grateful Dead because I think it kind of includes everything.
Cool.
You know what I mean? So. The Waffle House, I will just say this. We don't have to dive into it deeply, but Waffle House is the most authentic.
I was going to say that actually, you know, this, why even bother? Let's just get it over there. I've been to like, I think I've been at Waffle House once. Everything I know about it through cultural conversation is that it knows exactly what it is.
Waffle House and Lou Reed. Nothing's more authentic than Waffle House and Lou Reed.
And Ralph Lauren. Look what we have in our, like, is this our Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost
of authenticity?
Of American authenticity is Ralph Lauren, Lou Reed, and Waffle House.
Honestly.
Oh, say, can you see?
Yes.
Yeah.
I fucking love it.
That's America.
That's America.
Do you quickly want to do Grateful Dead?
Let's do Grateful Dead, which I think will also fall inauthentic. And will dip close to Photoshop, but not touch Photoshop.
I see it.
And I'm not talking about the music. I'm literally talking about the branding of the Grateful Dead. So if you go into the top left corner, these are all the logos of the Grateful Dead, right?
Yeah.
And these are the ones that we all know and
I've never
love.
seen the turtle one. That's new to me.
That's from Terrapin Station. It's from the cover of one of their albums. It's one of the least known ones.
Sure.
But the turtles show up a lot of places. But the one in the center is the Steely. That's what it's called.
The Steely?
Steal Your Face. It's from a song, Steal Your Face Right Off Your Head. Right? And that's the original Grateful Dead logo. And then at some point, the bears came around, and then there's the dancing skulls. There's also another one that's missing that's like a skull surrounded by roses. And roses are a big thing in Grateful Dead culture, too.
This red and blue skull I saw obviously growing up everywhere. I didn't know what it was for.
Your entire life.
Yeah, but it always threw me because I'm like, is this a professional sport that I don't know of?
Well,
it looks so much like MLB or NBA.
Now, as you say that, go to the right. This is the incredible thing about the Grateful Dead logo. You can mix it with anything.
Come on, you Grateful Dead gunners.
Come on, you Grateful Dead gunners. Go over one more. Oh, I'm actually wearing one with a 12-step logo in it today.
Jeez.
Unplanned. I just happen to be wearing this. I put this on when I
God.
was leaving the house today. The Mets logo.
Mets logo.
Everything, go down one, Wu-Tang Clan and the Grateful Dead. You
it's
can
got
put
a-
anything in a Grateful Dead logo. The
black
Black
flag.
Flag. That's from one of Jerry Garcia's guitars. That's another one of the logos. But you like the bear, the skull. That's Online Ceramic shirts on the bottom.
Oh, yeah, of
the
course.
Wu-Tang, you mix it in. They got the little up
yeah,
in the
yeah,
corner,
that's
the
right.
little wolf, Wolfie, which was from the guitar. Grateful Dead's this thing where you can kind of combine anything.
Teton gravity research? What?
Yeah, like
What is that?
it's like a cool off-brand cultural like menswear line. You know, you can
I
make.
think you're telling me it's like literally like a lab in North Carolina or
But
something.
that's the thing. You can kind of the Grateful Dead logo is kind of the original collab logo because you can put anything inside of the Grateful Dead logo, and you're a Deadhead, and it combines your two love of things. That's the Europe '72 album cover. The one on the bottom. No, and these are just like the homemade road tour shirts that people make. And people just make these, and these are like the parking lot shirts, which kind of turned into the Online Ceramics thing, which is like the Photoshop version of,
Yeah.
for the Dead & Co. stuff. Like this is all Photoshop, but it all feels authentic.
Yeah, oh yeah. Isn't that funny? It's so nakedly photoshopped, or even like this is from my Deep Cup design heads out there. Not Photoshop, but like Print Shop Deluxe, the software you get with your Windows 3.1 Compact Presario. You can like print out like yard sale flyers. You
Yes.
know, it just like clip art and shit and word art and like that's what Online Ceramics has done. They've turned that into they've owned that aesthetic, but also is incredibly authentic.
100%.
And this is, if anything, this is an argument to go back to to switch authentic back to analog because
It feels analog.
It feels analog.
All this Grateful Dead stuff feels analog.
yeah.
It feels, and you can mix anything with it. One of my favorite Grateful Dead shirts I ever saw was the Grateful Dead Steely logo with just the photo from Mobb Deep, The Quiet Storm, with the two guys inside of it. And I'm like, I don't know why this makes me so happy. Like, you can literally mix anything. And then there's the fun plays where they have like the Althea instead of Arsenal, and Althea is like a famous Grateful Dead song. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
And like, there's like a Black Flag cover, there's a cover album of like Grateful Dead songs by Henry Rollins where
really?
the Black Flag thing started from. Like, so you see those Black Flag Grateful Dead shirts all over. And then you go to a parking lot at a Grateful Dead show or now a Dead & Company show, and you'll just see like 8 million versions of different kinds of these shirts where like you'll see a lot of the Online Ceramics one now, you'll see a lot of the homemade ones, and you'll see like bad ones that are kind of like cheesy and you're like, oh, that's not really cool.
Yeah.
But then you'll see like cool ones too. And it kind of, even the bad ones
Have
charm because they're like authentic,
Yeah. Yeah.
but they brush against corporate. They're like the least corporate brand, but their logos and everything's been so like the final tour kind of monetized. Like I'm going to see them for my birthday at the Sphere in April. And like, I don't know which shirt I'm going to wear, but I'll see somebody wearing like, you know, like the Dancing Bear shirt. I bought a crop top of that at like a Gadzooks, not a Gadzooks, but like some store on sale for
Like a Spencer's or Claire's or something.
Like for my wife, because I saw it right before we were going to see him last time. Like you will see a Grateful Dead shirt in a Target.
Yeah,
But they're
yeah.
so authentic, it doesn't take the sheen off of it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I have a Nirvana shirt from H&M, and like I went to a Target, and the guy working there was like, "Cool shirt," and he was younger than me. I'm like, "Are we gonna bond over a Nirvana?" And like, I got it at H&M.
Yeah, I bought a Bruce Springsteen long pause because I can't remember the name of the first record. Greetings from Asbury Park shirt at like a Gap in like 2003 that I still have.
I think that's fine. I think normalize that.
Yeah.
Support the band.
But also it's this weird thing of like, well, at what point is it a fake vintage shirt that it feels authentic again? But like for some reason, Grateful Dead kind of can cut through that. Also, going on eBay and looking for weird Grateful Dead like mashup stuff. Like I have a Grateful Dead Mets like, and it says R.I.P. Shea Stadium shirt on it. That's like one of my favorite things.
Where do you think this belongs?
It's authentic above, but like below. It's like the most authentic because it's the most Americana. Mm-hmm. But it's also like there is like a slight Photoshop element. It's above Billie Eilish, and it's below Lou Reed just because over the years it's like they're 60 years old as a band. So they've touched all corners. But if Ralph Lauren,
and we can agree there's nothing AI about them.
Zero.
So I think it's right there. It's got to be right on the edge of the triangle as far as you can get away.
But it's also funny because if you go back to the shirts really quick, they have all of these shirts.
There's Trump and fries. Where'd you go?
Like look at that shirt in the left corner.
That's dope.
And that's handmade. Like somebody drew that. And then there are more like digital creation versions of these kinds of shirts, and those are the ones where I say they feel a little bit more corporate. Oh yeah, I got a Dead & Co water bottle from the last show, which is just the rose, and it says the final tour, and we saw them.
And clearly final means nothing to them.
Well, now they're just doing residencies at the Sphere because they're all old and they don't want to.
Oh, so it's not a tour. It's just
they just do a residency at the Sphere now, like once or twice a year, where they'll play for like
2 weeks or
8 weeks in a row.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
This was way more involved and fun than I anticipated. This was really fun.
The only one we didn't get to, and I just want to give it an honorable mention, which is Don Quixote, which is a Japanese mega store. And this is their aesthetic and brand.
Well, I think we know where it goes. I think it's right. I'm gonna make a call. I'm just gonna say it's. Let's see if we agree.
Don't you dare put it in AI.
I think it's right between.
Okay.
Right in there.
I think it's Photoshop.
It's so much detail packed in that I feel like, because it's like Mid-Journey will just grab shit and start populating. You're like, you don't need that much swirly
Yeah,
stuff
but
going
look
on.
at their actual logo. If you scroll down, it's just that guy.
I feel like that's
because they're like a 24-hour
okay,
store.
if you told me this was like a 24-hour store, or if this was a very like a small bank in Japan, I would believe either one.
I'm not putting my money in the moon bank.
Like, we're gonna do your taxes, this guy.
But like, Don Quixote is the greatest store that ever existed.
Called Don Quixote, like the book?
Yes. Scroll down.
Absolute madness.
Absolute madness. And every floor has
Have you ever been to Daiso here in LA?
Where is that?
There's one in downtown LA.
In Little Tokyo? Guess where we're going Friday night tonight? Because today's Friday for date night. Little Tokyo.
That in the big building?
Yeah, we're doing that. We're gonna go get ramen, have a little like throwback to the honeymoon.
Oh.
I love Don Quixote so much.
Go to Daiso. It's like a little dollar store of Japanese shit.
Yeah,
it's great. If you want a place, if you want a little bag to put your makeup in that says like, "So beautiful makeup every day, please." That's the place to go.
And that's what this place is.
Yeah, I love it.
It's food. It's so much candy. It's like weird. Every floor has like. Here's a whole floor of Japanese sunscreens, and also on this floor is like bidets. and there's 11 floors, and they're all jam packed.
Open
and
until late night.
And there's video screens. It's 24 hours. I don't know why it says late night. So we would go. We went in like late at night and did all of our shopping. We went twice.
I like to think this penguin is always there waiting for you. Hell yeah, dog. This was a good one. I feel extremely confident about
The triumphant.
the pillars of America. Lou Reed, Ralph Lauren, Waffle.
You know what's funny? Because we were kind of talking about it earlier, I would throw Wu-Tang in there too.
Well, Wu-Tang is incredibly authentic.
Yes, and a pillar of American culture, I think.
I agree.
And I think Wu-Tang and Ralph Lauren have an overlap. And also, if you're going to throw it in, there is a Wu-Tang, Lou Reed, just New York kind of things.
Oh,
and then authentic Waffle House is the most Southern thing.
I love it. Any hot recommendations?
Oh.
I don't really have much. I got a stupid one.
Mine would be the Tokyo. I know that's crazy to be like, that's like a hard rec. You can't just pick up Tokyo. But what I would recommend, you actually kind of can. There's this airline, it's called Zapare Airline, and it's got dirt cheap flights.
Oh, yeah, we talked about that.
Tokyo.
Yeah.
Oh, did we last week?
Yeah,
okay,
and I was
cool.
like, that's as much as the flight to see my
Yeah.
in-laws in
Okay,
Knoxville.
never mind. Okay, then I take back Tokyo.
You can keep it on there.
No,
it's
no.
a big city.
You go and I'll think of one.
Oh, mine's real dumb. But I don't have anything good other than I've been saying the word dog a lot lately. I don't know why, and I just want to, I don't think fully bring it back. But if anyone feels inclined to start using the word dog more, I think that's fun.
I use dog in most emails to my friends. And then sometimes I spell it D-O-G, and sometimes I spell it the D-A-W-G, which is the way you're supposed to spell dog.
I think exclusively A-W-G.
You know what? This conversation and the pillars of America and the AI analytic and the Wu-Tang and the dog, I'm going to recommend some Jim Jarmusch movies.
Oh, yeah.
That makes me think of Jim Jarmusch movies, and I'm going to recommend to go with the Lou Reed smoking a cigarette, Coffee and Cigarettes.
That's a fun one.
If you
just watched SNL 50th anniversary, you want to see Bill Murray up to some shenanigans with the Wu-Tang?
Yeah. Coffee and Cigarettes.
And a youngish Jack White.
A very youngish Jack White. And a very funny Iggy Pop, Tom Waits combo.
Tom Waits, yeah.
Roberto Benigni with... Pony. Stephen Wright.
Stephen Wright. Oh.
I Have a Pony. One of the greatest comedy records of all time. You're getting 2 recommendations. Listen to I Have a Pony. Stephen Wright. And Coffee and Cigarettes by Jim Jarmusch. Those would be my 2.
We did it.
Want to hear a great... Want to end on a great Stephen Wright joke?
Yeah.
I recently bought some used paint. He goes, it was in the shape of a house. What a joke.
Stephen Wright just has this it's a needle and thread, and he just somehow gets it right through your brain, and you didn't know he's looped it back at the end. You're like, oh, you motherfucker.
How did you think of that? So wild.
He's great.
Yeah.
Stephen Wright.
All right, gang.
All right, dogs.
Dogs. We'll see
you
you
all at the pound.
We'll see you next week. Oh, follow us both on social media and subscribe to the show.
Yeah. And you got spotted by somebody.
Oh, yeah.
You want to shout this guy out? Is that weird? Is that weird?
No, I don't think it's weird. To the nice guy who came up to me as I was leaving the coffee shop and ran up to me and asked if I'm on the podcast.
Adam?
I believe that's it. You have a better memory for that kind of stuff than me. It was very sweet. He came up to me. He was incredibly nice and kind, and listened to the podcast. And it was also nice because I was heading to that.
Adam Holmes.
Yeah.
Shout out to you, Adam Holmes.
Thanks, Adam Holmes.
Thanks for listening.
You made my day.
Then he texted me, and that made my day. It's very cool that people are fans of this and are listening and watching.
Great.
And
also,
as we covered, you're gorgeous. And
yes.
You're turning
having
heads
the
left
balls
and right.
to walk up to a smoke show like me. I will say this: my wife did tell me I looked handsome this morning, and it made me feel great.
All right, thanks, gang.
See you next week.
Bye bye.